Hey, it's Eddie, and welcome to another edition of Stuff and Things. Today I'm going to be cleaning up an old Husky PC-36 lathe. I picked this thing up from a friend of mine who was moving out of state and couldn't take it with him. These are actually pretty cool old lathes. It turns out they were made in Taiwan by 3 different companies that put about 50 different labels on them, but they're all basically the same thing. It's old school, but it does work. We'll get the job done for the type of stuff I need, and right now I'm just going to clean it up. Before I do that, though, I'll give you a walkthrough of it. So we got the drill bed, tool unit here. It's kind of old school. It's just belts and pulleys, and you change the belt by moving this lever, which releases tension, and you lock it back in, and you can change the speed of the unit by doing that. It's got all these charts and gauges on it, and you can actually use it to thread, to do threading. It's a pretty cool little unit, and needs cleaning up, so that's what I'm going to do right now. So what I did was just scrub the thing down to get the heavy grease off, and then kind of cleaned up the base and then oiled everything. Coming up, you'll see the drill unit is missing the hand wheel at the back of it. So we had to fix that. So I went down to my buddy Matt Sweeney, who's a huge help and super knowledgeable guy. And he helped me make an extension for the shaft that the hand wheel goes on. So here we are drilling a hole for it. First we cut the shaft so that it would fit. As you can see, it slides on nicely there. And what we're going to do is silver solder it using those holes. I was going to weld it. Matt suggested silver soldering. He likes to silver solder. He thinks it's better. And since he knows more than I do, I always default to him whenever he says, do it one way. And I would have done it, but I think Matt likes doing this stuff because he always sort of jumps in and starts doing things. And so here we are silver soldering. We heat this up, get it nice and hot, stick the silver solder so that it flows in, and it flows in and all around. I asked Matt if this was stronger than welding. He said in some ways probably is, because welding we'd only be able to get around the shaft at the base where the two meet, and this silver solder kind of flows in and then hardens back up and seals it off pretty well. So that's the way we chose to do it. I'm sure it'll be fine. And now we cool it off in water. There's a blob of the solder that came through the opposite side, so now we're going to just grind it down, clean it up, which is what we're doing, taking off any of the nubs and burrs and whatnot. And as soon as we're finished with this, it will be back to the lathe. And see, this is why I want a lathe, so I can do stuff like this. So put it back in the lathe to clean up any of the silver solder residue that was sticking out. Finish that up, got that all nice and clean. Then took a file to get it down. We kept filing it and then trying to slide on the retainer box, or whatever you want to call the part. I don't know what it's called, but it's the piece that holds it on to the unit. And we kept trying that until it fit. Doesn't quite fit, so we're going to file it again. And we did this a bunch of times until we basically got it to where it needs to be. And we just filed a little, and then we checked, and then we filed a little, and then we checked. And we wanted to do that because obviously we want to make sure that you don't want to file too much off. So now we fit. We got a nice perfect fit. It's nice, and it'll move, but it's also snug. Now we took the new hand wheel that we got from McMaster, and we got one with a much smaller hole than the shaft of ours so that we could drill it out. And we just drilled that whole thing out so it'll fit. Next stop is the mill, because we need to drill a couple of holes so that we can put some set screws in. We ended up doing 2 set screws. That way shouldn't ever come apart. I think that was the right way to go. And then after we drilled, we tapped threads. And I'm very happy with how it all came out. And here we are at the end. And here's a cool little thing I was able to score. I found a company, Ozark Tool Manuals, I want to give them a shout out, that sells reproduction or reprints, I don't know what they're called, of the instruction and parts manuals for a lot of older equipment, not just metal lathes. They cover other equipment like mills and all sorts of stuff. They had fast turnaround from the day I ordered. I think I got it a couple days later. And this manual is actually pretty good. It's got the basics on how to set it up and how to use it. It is interesting that they called it the metal lathe and they didn't actually put a name on it. And again, that was because this thing had so many different names. And I was told that when they shipped these, they actually would include sometimes a stack of plates where whoever bought them would pick which plate would go on the unit. So that's why these units have so many names. Anyways, yeah, shout out to Ozark Tool Manuals. Really happy with this manual. And anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.